one should not do postdoc for a long time. The reason is, or they should do it for exactly how long it is needed to reach their target. So that is something that I would like to say. And the most important thing about the target or the goal uh, can change with time.
Welcome to the PhD talk show by BioPatrika. My name is Dr. Albertha Joseph Alexander, and I have as my guest today Dr. Shayandev Sinha. He is a development yield engineer at Intel Corporation in the USA. Welcome, Dr. Sinha.
Thank you, Alberta, for inviting me to the PhD talk show. I feel honored to be invited, and thanks for taking the time to have a chat with me.
Yes, indeed, it's really a pleasure to have you on today's show. We would really want to hear about your educational journey and your career journey that would have led you to this point of being in industry at Intel. So feel free to share it with us at this time.
Yeah, so it started a while back. My interest with physics and chemistry is very old. It started probably when I was maybe 14, 15 years old, and I took up the topic of mechanics as an additional subject in my high school. And then after that, I took the science stream for my higher secondary studies. And when I joined college, I took up mechanical engineering as my major. So I did both my bachelor's and master's, a dual degree from IIT Kanpur. And after that, I joined PhD in mechanical engineering at University of Maryland. Sometime during my master's, I started delving deep into mechanics at nanoscale and at solid liquid interfaces. And that continued during my PhD with multiple applications in fluid mechanics, in nanoparticle adhesion, and additive manufacturing. After my PhD, I spent a significant amount of time at Rowland Institute at Harvard University, working on, again, fluid interaction problems with solids, but at a different scale. That was mostly with droplets and liquid handling for many engineering and bioengineering applications. From 2019, I have been at Hillsboro, Oregon, working in the technology development group at Intel Corporation. I work in the Department of Yield, and I have worked on many technologies like Intel 4, Intel 3, and PowerVia, and so forth. That has been kind of my journey. So I have kind of moved a little bit around from core mechanical engineering to more material science oriented topics, and with a kind of a larger application to biotechnology, semiconductors, and things like that.
Right. And I really appreciate that. I suppose you too as well, that you have been able to really delve continuously on a part that you enjoy, because I would have read that you had that interest in mechanics even from pre-tertiary level.
Yes, yes, I did. I have loved the things that are moving all around me from a very young age.
Yes. And have you, like, what types of interesting skills besides the academic skills has been very pivotal and useful since your time being at Intel?
So, see, I mean, PhD doesn't only give you the normal skills that you learn for your main topics, like the things that we learn for our thesis or something. But there are a lot of other interesting skills that are achieved during a PhD. Like one such skill set is, looking at data with a very different mindset, like trying to understand the correlations, trying to understand a graph much more differently than how it is. So that kind of a skill set, and then how to design an experiment, how to think about a parameter space, and how to analyze the situation is something that we also learn. And these are very nice transferable skill set that one also gets while doing a PhD. For many people in PhD, there is also something that we learn is specifically resource management, because because if you are an experimental scientist, then you do not have all the tools that you need for your research. So you know how to manage resources and time. And those are also interesting skill sets that come into play while you are working in a very fast moving industry, and which also has a research component to it.
Right. And was there any particular skill set, let's say, that you wish you had the opportunity to develop a little bit more before moving into industry, that by sharing it would be a benefit to the listeners to know in advance?
Oh, so the thing is that I did have good skills in programming, but I was not very familiar. I was familiar with basic statistical concepts, but I have not delved deep into the field of statistics a lot. Getting a more deeper dive into statistics would have been more beneficial for me, at least from an Intel perspective, which basically I had to learn after I joined on my own and also taking classes. But the thing is that had I done it, delved a little bit more before, then I think my initial time would have been a bit more smooth.
Right. And I know sometimes when persons have to transition from academia into industry, as you said, there were certain skill sets you had to learn, and you took the time to build up your skills in that. Uh, like how was it emotionally in that sense, just maneuvering over that hurdle?
So the thing is that you have to understand, at least for my case, the change was not very big because my the environment that I was in, academia, was also very fast moving. It was very fast paced, and most of the time, the research projects that I was involved in had strong deadlines and had to move at a breakneck speed. So that is the usual case when you typically join industry. Projects here are very fast moving, at least in the semiconductor industry, from the perspective, because every 2 years or 3 years by Moore's law, you actually increase the number of transistors in a system, and as a result of that, the projects usually have to move very fast. So that I mean that was I was fine with that kind of environment. But some people, usually, since PhD is a long process, they are more familiar with a slow style of working, or taking one step back sometimes to look at the problem statement and come up with an answer. That attitude might need to be a little bit tuned, because here people would like to get directly into the steps, and try to get an answer. So the thing is that this system is very much based on something called a data-driven model. So basically, more and more data will come and the model will build up, but you have to initially propose certain models. Where on the other side, in academics, sometimes we wait for the entire data set to arrive. We wait for the entire parameter space to be arrived, and then we try to understand a model. So that's why there is a slight difference between that. But technically speaking, I did not have a huge shift from my PhD life and my post PhD life to the industry. Obviously, the output requirements are different between academia and the current work, because in academia, people are looking for publications, people are looking for high value papers. Sometimes people are looking for grants from the research data that we are generating. But here, obviously, we are not looking for grants. But yes, we are also definitely looking for filing patents and some kind of ideas into the market. And obviously, eventually making a product, which is not something that most people in academia have actually done.
Right. I appreciate sharing about that because it helps persons who have PhDs and they want to make that transition. They get the idea of the differences in expectations and possible differences in output.
Yes, yes. So that is definitely there because the output requirements are very different, as I have just mentioned.
Right. And I know sometimes when persons finish their PhD, they would move on to, let's say, do a postdoc, and that depending may be short, it may be long, and it would be good to hear your perspectives on that in terms of wanting to transition into an industry role.
So I actually have strong views about doing and not doing a postdoc. That sometimes might sound a bit controversial, but anyway, I'll say about it and speak about it. The main thing is that I believe that one should not do postdoc for a long time. The reason is, or they should do it for exactly how long it is needed to reach their target. So that is something that I would like to say. And the most important thing about the target or the goal uh, can change with time, depending upon perspectives, depending upon situations. A person's target and goal in life changes. And postdoc being a transitory phase should actually assist that goal. That is the most important part of this entire discussion. So one has to remember that postdoc is a transitory journey. PhD is a degree. Any tenure track professorship position or any faculty position is a permanent position. Any industry researcher position in many cases is a permanent position or something like that. But postdoc or these fellowships and etc., these are all transitory. So the transitory nature of them has to be thought about very fast. Number two is, many people think that postdoc is something that people do for getting a faculty position. Currently in this world, practically, it is very true that without a postdoc, it is very difficult to get a faculty position. And actually, somewhere I read an RSC data analysis that out of like 100 or 150 postdocs, one person will find a faculty job. So the ratio is very skewed. The number of faculty positions are very, very less. So now the thing is that obviously you are good and there are students who are very good, there are outstanding postdocs. But if you go by sheer volume of the numbers of the positions in faculty available, then it is very clear that many postdocs will not find a faculty position. And as a result of that, now they have to think about what's next to do if they are not getting one. And that is where the important question comes, that where can I go to apply the skill sets that I have learned and the things that I want to do, the goals that I want to achieve. So it's not that you have to immediately leave research. It is not true. You can do research even in industry. So then you can definitely look for that. And the other thing is that some people might actually at the end of the PhD, they figure out that they did not like the journey, that they did not like what they did for the last 5 years. And for them, it actually becomes more interesting because now they're open to explore other careers and many other different kind of careers that nobody has even thought of, right? So I watched a Netflix show, Street Food Latin America, in which there was a chef. He is a PhD in chemistry from University of Sheffield. His name is Toshio Matsufuji. He's actually one of the best chefs of that country. He cooks a very special cuisine. So the thing is that people can take careers that uh, you might not even thought of, and your journey of PhD actually boosts you for that. So that is the most important thing. So you can either think it at during your PhD, or you can either think it after your PhD, or maybe while you are doing your post PhD time at some lab or somewhere. But that is the most important thing to think about, that there is a final career that you have to jump in, and you should vie for that and not wait in a postdoctoral position to take the big leap towards that actual career that will make you really shine, and that will bring your talents out. So that is the most important thing. It's a transitory position, it's a temporary position, it is not a permanent position, and one has to really look for something that what they want to do, and definitely probably which is financially rewarding, and personally and also work-wise rewarding. But that is the main point. Many people are gung-ho to get a faculty position. I respect that attitude, but I want to give caution here that if you look at sheer numbers, even if you are gung-ho, you might not get one. So you have to be prepared to move on, and you have to be prepared to look for other things in your career.
Well said. So Dr. Sinha has left us with food for thought that there are many opportunities open to us as PhDs, and one of those opportunities is taking on that transition to industry. And Dr. Sinha is a perfect example of someone who has smoothly, I would like to add, transitioned from his educational pursuits right into industry. And we look forward to hearing more great things, and possibly as we come to end and close, we would ask Dr. Sinha to maybe share, if he can, what are some of his short-term goals that he may have being at Intel now for some time.
So short-term goals at Intel usually means the projects that are there right now. There are a lot of action required that I have, and I have to run into them probably after I finish this discussion and finish them up. So that is short-term goals over the next week. But if you look at a short-term goal for over a couple of months, then there is a technology that we're trying to develop. I have a significant contribution in that, and I do want to focus on that to deliver something very special and to make that technology successful. And then after that is to go on for the next thing. So these are kind of the things, and I definitely like to interact with students, interact with people who are on their journey and on their career track, and obviously to see if we in any way I can help or motivate any of those students in their respective journeys, because each one's journey is different, each one's perspective is very different, each one's situation is very different.
Very true. And again, I just want to take this time on behalf of BioPatrika to thank you for making yourself available to be one of our guests on the PhD talk show. And no doubt this was an extension of your desire to be a mentor to others in a similar way as you were mentored by others. And we want to wish you all the best in your journey, in your career path in industry. and all the other aspirations that you have for yourself.
Thank you.
So we want to thank all of those who have joined in on our show today. And we ask you to continue to look out for more episodes of PhD Talk Show by BioPatrika. Thanks again.